Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the First Serve YouTube channel. Will Taylor here alongside Brett Phillips. And Brett, what an Indian Wells it's been so far. Today, we're having a look at the women's side of the draw and specifically the women's semi-finals. How have you seen it so far? It's been an interesting draw. Top seeds have fallen. There's been some upsets. How have you seen it?
Yeah, I think, well, any women's event is full of intrigue, full of storylines, ones that we can't see in advance. Across all sports, really, women's tennis is the most unpredictable. And I think it's fantastic because we're getting new names shine just about every tournament, whether it's these WTA 1000 events and slams, those who are making their way and winning their first, 250 or 500 for the first time. There are just so many good players emerging. Women's tennis is really, really tough. I mean, you can't now just glide through the first few rounds in a women's tournament. You've got to be on the ball right from the very start. So once again, we get to the semi-final stages, which are about to preview, and we have some names here that we maybe couldn't have expected, but at the same time, we're not surprised because if you look at, certainly Badosa's year, Jabeur's year, Ostapenko's got a bit of a groove back from winning that French Open at such a young age and then falling away, and that whole balance between defence and attack. She seems to have got the balance better, so she's back with a chance to win a big tournament again. I look at some of the names throughout the last week or so. It was another solid sort of performance from Ajla Tomljanovic. She'd be disappointed, certainly the way she exited in the fashion that she did to Angelique Kerber, but she's once again backed up US Open, backed up Wimbledon with another good performance at a really big tournament. Karolina Pliskova, disappointing again for me. I mean, here's an opportunity with no Barty and no Sabalenka, no Osaka to maybe win one of these big events. She's fallen short at Wimbledon this year. She fell short at Cincinnati, knocked out by a player, Haddad Mayer, who she probably should have beaten, certainly on paper. But once again, it proves that these players, the unseeded ones, can certainly have good runs. So it really comes down to the day in women's tennis. Who's going to execute the best? We know the courts have played a little slower at Indian Wells, but we've got four really decent players. The veteran in Azarenka, who's still playing a great level of tennis in her second stage of her career, being a mum. She's lost none of her competitive juices, and she's on home soil, being of course living in California.
Absolutely, yeah. 4 quality semi-finalists and 2 semi-final matchups I think we're really, really going to enjoy. So let's start with the first of them. So Jabeur and Paula Badosa. Jabeur making a bit of history today, becoming the first male or female Arab player who will now on Monday reach the top 10 of the world rankings. Pretty unbelievable stuff from Jabeur, and such a fun player to watch as well. How do you see her game?
I love her game. I love her game, and I love her as a person. I think she's got just a great character, personality. She talks into a microphone. She gives you plenty. That's great for us in the media. It's great for the fans who sit in the stands. She takes you inside. I think this has been an incredible story. She's put together 2 years of fantastic tennis. I mean, you go back to the start of 2020, she was about 80 in the world. Here she is, as you've mentioned, stepping inside the top 10 for the first time. First Arab woman to win a WTA title in Birmingham earlier this year. She's been a model of consistency with a game that you can't take your eyes off. I mean, we see a lot of matches sometimes just at all-out power, just from the back, not much volleying, not much forward court action. Well, she uses every dimension. She plays the drop shot as good as anyone. There's maybe a couple of times her coach would love her to put it away, but she executes it generally pretty well. She's crafty. She hits all these different type of balls. I mean, it's very similar to Ash Barty in a sense that she's got a large repertoire of shots that she can go to. Ihsan Jalali spoke to us on the first serve, I reckon 12, 15 months ago, gave us some great insights. Shane Leonard, who's based here in Melbourne, where we are, Will. He's the data analyst for ONS's camp. He's a good friend of the first serve. So I feel like we've had some really good insights. I think the next step will be to get ONS on the first serve and have a chat to us herself. But she's getting reward for consistency, and she's just working really, really hard. It's a great reward for hard work.
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't have said it any better myself. And her opponent will be Paula Badosa, who herself has had an unbelievable tournament so far. I mean, she's taken out some big names. And today against Angelique Kerber. She played some super tennis. She looked really, really strong. So this is promising to be a really good matchup. How do you see Paula's game?
Oh, I think she's had an incredible year. And to beat Kerber today, that was a great effort because to beat Angie, you've got to work hard. I mean, Kerber gets so many balls back. She loves to just make you play, and she's a grinder, great counter puncher who can, obviously hit some outstanding shots of her own. She's got the firepower to match the grind and the defensive capabilities. But Badosa, that serve has been really instrumental for her growth this year. I mean, she's gone from 70 in the world to now 20 in the world in the live rankings as it stands. She's beaten Ash Barty. She's beaten Krejcikova. She's beaten Sabalenka this year. She's taken some really good scalps. So decent serve, which you need in women's tennis, which can elevate you up quite a few rungs. She's getting good value there. She's pretty solid off the ground. I wouldn't say she's always the most beautiful mover coming forward. I think that's probably still the part of her game, just the volleying and the final part there just to tidy up. But she's still, I think, a work in progress, but she's got a great intensity, and it's amazing what belief can do. I mean, you look at, beating the caliber of players this year, she and her camp would be saying, hey, I belong here now. I can play any of these girls and beat them. So good tournament. I mean, she's beaten Kerber, Krejcikova, Coco Gauff, Yastremska coming back on the tour in the last couple of months. So she's earned her spot. And if you look at the head-to-head, Will, they're one apiece, these two. Both have been on a hard court. Miami earlier this year, which was a tight match that Jabeur just won, and you go back to Badosa winning at the US Open about 5 years ago when they were both at different stages of their career and just emerging. So I think we're going to have a very, very tight semi-final. Hard to split them.
Absolutely. Yeah, super hard to split them. And Badosa becoming the first Spanish woman since 2003, I think it is, to reach the semi-finals at the BNP Paribas Open. So, yeah, terrific tournament for her. And it's also her, she's had 4 top 10 wins this year as well, Paula Badosa. So that just shows your point that, yeah, she is a giant killer. She's had a fantastic season. Moving on to our second semi-final, which in itself is also a great matchup between two major champions. Victoria Azarenka, as you touched on before, she's had a terrific tournament this week, 2-time champion here at Indian Wells. And again, yesterday, she had a fantastic straight sets victory, hasn't lost a set all tournament. How have you seen Vic's game, and do you think she has what it takes to go to that next level and make the final here this week?
Well, her game certainly still stacks up. I mean, it's, I remember a younger Victoria Azarenka when she was world number one, won back-to-back Australian Opens. She was intense, fierce competitor, which, Sabalenka sort of followed in her footsteps. But the mum, Azarenka, is still fiery and competitive, but she's got great balance and perspective, and also just enjoying every moment she's out there. So it's a very different sort of intensity. Still wants to win, but there's probably more important things in life when you have a child. So it's that whole balance, but she's still playing great tennis. I mean, that win against Kvitova, that was a great matchup in the third round. You got 2 Grand Slam champions. That was significant. And Jessica Pegula's had a great year. I mean, that started at the Australian Open. That was her breakthrough, and she's had some really good, consistent results. So to win 4-2 in that quarterfinal was a great win for Azarenka. So, yeah, her tennis is still stacking up pretty well, and she does love Indian Wells. So it's a sort of home away from home. It's she's lived in California for quite some time now, so she does feel very much at home. So she's the experienced player, certainly the 4 left, who knows all about being in semi-finals.
Absolutely, the 27th seed, a big opportunity for her to win another title at Indian Wells this week. Her opponent, Jelena Ostapenko, who really got out of jail, some would say, in her last match. Ostapenko is a really interesting player to watch. There's always quite a lot of drama surrounding her. She's into the semi-finals, though, this week. She had that win over Shelby Rogers. She's had that win over Swiatek. How do you see Ostapenko, and how do you see this matchup and her game stacking up against Azarenka and the form that she's in?
Well, it's a roller coaster with Jelena. I mean, it's all out attack, and I think that it's hard for those type of players. I mean, if we go back in history, I think of a Sabine Lisicki. I mean, she made a Wimbledon final. She was just all-out firepower. Yamila Gajdosova played the same way. When it was inside the tram lines, it was beautiful. But, gee, if it was off, those type of players get themselves into a rut and can lose 6-1, 6-1 in a hurry. So Ostapenko's been trying to find this balance because her natural instinctiveness is to play with aggression. that's what won her a French Open at the age of 19. I mean, she blitzed her way through that field. It was close your eyes and paint the lines. And so she's been trying to find this balance. And she is an interesting character. There is a bit of drama. She can be a bit prickly. That match against Putintseva, they had a pretty fiery match going back their previous meeting where it was a bit of a frosty handshake at the end. So that was a good one to get over because Julia had been playing well. Swiatek has had a great year. That's a really good scalp because you would have backed in Iga Swiatek to have a really good week and maybe go to the final of Indian Wells. And then Shelby Rogers, I mean, she's had some great results, as we know, this year. So she's beaten some good quality players. I think her attacking game is as good as anyone. I mean, Ostapenko absolutely can light it up if she's on song. So that makes her so dangerous. Fine line, though. And that's why she can win a set, go off colour a little bit, and then come back. So you never quite know with Jelena, but I feel like it's a little bit more solid now. I think she's working out when to be aggressive, when just to hold back a little bit. And if she can get that balance right, she's got the game that really she should be in the top 30 all the time. But these players can sometimes dip, and we see it with Camilla. Camilla George is another great example. She can be 20 odd in the world, and then she can be 80 in the world because she just can't win a match because she can't keep it in the court. Ostapenko, I think, is a step above that. So you match those two up. Ostapenko will throw everything but the kitchen sink. Azarenka can defend really well, so she's used to these type of players maybe having a little extra firepower, and she's got the smarts. I'm going to back in Vika with her experience, but if Ostapenko has a day out, watch out.
For sure, yeah, another tough match to call. Both matches very tough to have a pick. So if you're going to go with Vika for that semi-final, just going back to the previous one, Ons Jabeur, Paula Badosa, do you have a tip for that one?
I'm backing in the game of Ons. Yeah, I think she's just got a few more tricks up her sleeve just to counteract the Badosa aggression. And, I think it'd be great for Ons Jabeur to get through to a WTA 1000 final.
Absolutely. And I know it's very hard in tennis to kind of look too far ahead, but if Ons did play Vika in the final, do you see the game going one way or the other in that matchup?
Hard to call. I think Ons has got the belief, no doubt. Yes, Azarenka's got the better pedigree and resume and experience, but I think Jabeur, she genuinely believes, just, reading a few of her quotes in the last few days, that, hey, I belong here now, and I've got here because I've put in the work and I can beat anyone. And I think that's women's tennis right now. No one's playing the resume on the other side of the net anymore. They're just going out there in their own little zone, just playing their game. Don't care what you've done. I'm going to back myself in, and I feel like all these ladies are in a very similar spot. So it might be one player's opportunity one week, someone's the next, and that's what we're seeing, isn't it, in women's tennis? Yeah. Everyone's having an opportunity to get deep into tournaments.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's been another fantastic women's draw, this WTA 1000, the last one of the year. Brett, thanks for joining me. And to all our viewers out there, remember that on Monday night on the First Serve radio show, we'll have a full recap of Indian Wells. And you can find out how to watch through the description in the video link. Brett, thanks again. And hopefully we get 2 very good semi-finals and a very good final in the women's singles at Indian Wells.
Yeah, pretty good finish to come. Thanks, Will.